Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the next panel coming up to you on tech-driven HR analytics, unleashing the power of HR data management, please help me welcome with a big round of applause. Joining us first in this panel, Ms. Priti Singh, Chief People Officer, Universal Sompo General Insurance. Big round of applause to Ms. Priti Singh. Welcome to the panel, madam. Please have your seat. Joining next, we have Mr. Arif Khan, Associate Director, Talent, Capability and Rewards from Perfetti Van Melle. A big round of applause to Mr. Khan. Welcome to the panel, sir. Please have your seat. Joining next, we have Dr. Santosh Kumar Rout, Group Head HR from Sorigin Group. A big round of applause to Dr. Rout. Welcome to the panel, sir. Please have your seat. Joining next, we have Apoorva Kapoor, Head of HR, Bajaj Consumer Care. A big round of applause for Apoorva. Apoorva, can you have you here? Welcome to the panel. Big round of applause for Ms. Kapoor. Please join the panel. Joining next, we have Mr. Rajesh Gupta, Vice President and Head of Business Partner, People and Organization, Generali Central Insurance Company. Big round of applause to Rajesh ji. Welcome to the panel, sir. Joining next, we have Shivaditya Banerjee, Head HR, Piramal Consumer Healthcare. Shivaditya, welcome to the panel. Please have your seat, sir. And our honorable moderator for this panel, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ramkumar Venkataraman, Senior Partner, Cedar Management Consulting International. Big round of applause to Mr. Venkataraman. So a full panel, and I think a full house of audience. All over to you, honorable panel members, and all over to you, Mr. Venkataraman. Looking forward to a great show.
Thank you. And before I start, I must say that the 15 minutes that you got me start a little late is not to my account, it's to your account. So we'll continue with our 15 minutes. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think we have been given the graveyard session after the lunch. I didn't hear them say good afternoon, did you? Good afternoon? Thank you. Okay. We really have a very interesting session here, and thank you, Varun, for that very fascinating oath. Did you coin that exactly for our panel, or was it meant to be, that I will not blame AI and I will have human in the loop and I will be adopting AI? I think that was, where is Varun? Varun, can you put your hand up? He's gone out? All right. Okay, so can I actually, maybe before we start this session, have a very simple show of hands. I have two questions. Question number one, other than the chat GPT and perplexity and the likes, how many of us in the room here have genuinely embraced or in the process of implementing something that is of material value from an AI standpoint? How many of us are in the middle of or have implemented? I see a few, only 2 or 3 hands. That gives us a very different view than what we probably thought we will start with. My second question, how many of us are genuinely intimidated by this data analytics and AI? If nobody's hand is up, then I think you are asleep, yeah. Come on. Just one? Just two? Nobody's intimidated other than these 3 people? We're dealing with stalwarts here? Really? There's some people putting their hands up there. Okay. Look, I think the whole idea of this session was to actually get a little more perspective from a practitioner's standpoint. The canvas of the discussion is actually about AI and data and its adoption in what we actually have been doing in the HR workspace. And I'm going to start this discussion with something that is material, which all of us actually are experiencing, and this is probably the first question I will take to you, Rajesh. And this is actually to do with employee experience and life cycle, right? We talk about AI, better quality data. In fact, the panel before this talked about the beta can be wrong, but the data can't be wrong. And then there is a whole discussion around analytics and what that means. But could you actually maybe share with us some perspectives on what that basically means for the employee? As someone who's heading HR and engaging with the employee, what does all of this data and all of the AI mean for you from an employee context, and if you drill it down to an employee life cycle context, and maybe extend it to also things to do with attrition? Yeah.
Thank you, Ram. Good afternoon, team. I hope everybody is awake. Any idea why there was a oath session just now, before this panel? Do we want to say that we are afraid of AI?
Nobody's hand went up when I asked, are you intimidated? So I'm assuming they are not afraid of AI.
That's good. So if you're not afraid of AI, then oath was not required, but still it's good. We have that oath. I'll just talk about few things. See, data was always there. Whether it was on a manual mode, on a paper, or today data server, or today in the AI form. If you see in the past, data was always there, but we used to use as a HR as a reactive mode. Data coming in and post at working on it. Whereas when the AI has come in, it has gone in a predictive mode, where you have the data, you predict what will going to happen in the future. So let me just take you through few steps. This has helped people, but let me take you few areas where it can actually has helped people, helped us in working on. Let's start with when I say employee experience starts from your starting of hiring bit itself, when the candidate is approaching the company. So how well the employee gets experience from the perspective candidate, initial experiences, how much data he needs to give in what form. So today if you see the data when it's coming in, might be only certain data is filled by the candidates and later is picked up from his CV and everything is passing is done. But also it helps the recruiter who was earlier going through each profile need not go through. There's a job fitment which can happen based on the profile vis-a-vis the JD, which many of the organizations are today doing it outside the course, but when you put it in the system can do it and give it to you, it saves your time. It can also do your first level of round of interview by asking few questions to the chatbot or through a forms or survey. That can help you in analyzing whether this person is right to take it ahead or not. Let's move it ahead. Once the screening is done, offer is given, is a pre-onboarding stage. The days have gone where people used to fill up the forms handwritten, then on the server web, go and log in and put the data, which was there a few years back. After AI coming in, you need not enter the data. You just upload your documents. The data is scanned out of that. Like if you upload your mark sheets, so it picks up data directly, the education details are picked up, your qualification details are picked up from the CV. So now candidate has to enter only minimal data as required, not the full data what he used to do earlier. So AI is coming into that picture and reducing the workload and creating the employee experience, wow experience, by only not going through the full rut of the things of putting the data. In fact, the simple is the joining form, which used to be 15-20 pages, is now reduced because you just enter few data is picked up from there, the form is filled. You need not fill it again. This is on the joining part, but as the employee is entering, you also have various touch points to know the sentiments of the employee from on each and every career moments, whether he's got promoted, he's got confirmed, so you can catch up the sentiments and understand what's going on. Is there any gray area which needs to look into it? There can be also certain areas where the manager can give inputs from the perspective of the early warning signal, we call it, where we are analyzing that person might be leaving, planning to leave. Reason might be you come to know through his attendance cycle, through way of he speaking to the people, through the business what he is doing. So that's various areas where you can do the touch point of pulse surveys or the early warning signals or your 30, 60, 90 checks. So data was earlier also there. Today the difference is the data is getting analyzed and predicted in advance what is going to happen in future, which also helps based on your performance data. It helps you to define the career path of the employees. So at each and every stage you have your employee experience coming into picture, where you're capturing everything, even the exit, before the person is leaving or when he is leaving, why he is leaving, what is the problem, where is the issue. In fact, in the performance also, if you see, if the system can warn you or inform you that the appraisal is due or this person's productivity has gone down, you need to check in and speak to him. See to it what's going on, what intervention is required, is training required. These are the few things which AI will definitely help us, is helping in the picture going forward. And as now the new products we see, 𝐾𝐜𝐡 coming in, adrenaline coming in, there are various products coming in which is help us creating agents. Agents are the things which work on our behalf and give us the what we require. That's what I would like to do.
Interesting. No, thanks, Rajesh. I think you touched 2 points, and I'm going back to, you do definitely have the agents coming in, but you made a very interesting point that data has always been there, and the analytics of it is actually what is evolving. And I'm actually going to take that to you, Apoorva. And I'm actually moving, I know you actually work for Bajaj Consumer Care, and analytics is the, let's say, the bedrock of everything that you guys do. And, end of the day, data is about how do you actually draw sharper insights, right? I mean, how do you build an analytics that delivers, value that you could actually derive from insights that you draw. As a people leader, what would your view be, and if you can also give some examples or experiences on how you have seen, tech-driven data analytics making a big impact or a difference in the ways of, let's say, how your insights have been drawn.
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for bringing the focus on how these insights, because at the end of the day, it's how synergetic is it, how we are benefiting the business perspective and also people. So when we talk about FMCG or consumer business, of course, as my fellow panel said, data has always been there. But now we have the tools and technology to leverage it better. Let's say I'm talking about Salesforce effectiveness, because that directly talks to the productivity in the field. So we've had these SRMs and DMS always there. But now through use of these AI tools, we are actually able to find how can I be more precise, how can my work be more better prioritized. So for example, a sales officer is going to a single outlet and they have a beat to cover. So if I'm using my AI right, and as a people function, that's how I draw my insights as to, are the workforce really optimized well? Are they actually using their time? So there is GPS, there is the productive calls, all of that is there. But if you start talking to them and they start talking to each other, you're actually able to do a more effective day's work in the same output and maybe get better output as well. So that's a direct insight from a people perspective that can directly link back to business.
And you've been doing it actually.
Yes, so we already have like field assist, and there are other systems that are there, and you have inbuilt AI tools which start speaking to those systems. And right now, for example, when a Bajaj Consumer Care field officer is in any of those beats, when they enter the outlet, they will get a pop-up that for this particular outlet, these are the SKUs you should pitch. This is a high potential output for a larger SKU. So you don't have to rely on the decision making or the capability of that person. You're enabling them by the right data at the right time, and therefore your effectiveness, their productivity, everything accordingly goes up.
It's actually I mean, if I can conclude what you just said, is it's not about employee productivity data that is getting analyzed. It's actually about the enterprise data that is being delivered to improve the productivity of the employee.
Productivity.
Yeah?
In fact, when everybody talks about AI and they say about the fear or all of that, there is this other perspective you can look at, that how can you actually help them, enable them to do the same job and maybe more in a shorter time and more effective manner.
Fascinating.
So there are...
This is more than, it's not just about the agents that Rajesh talked about. Here you're talking about data and data analytics that is actually more sharper, that makes the whole difference to the employee. I'm actually going to take that to you, Dr. Santosh. And again, we are moving from insurance to consumer care to energy or renewable energy. And the conversation we had earlier gave me a very interesting perspective. You talked about how you have gone through an enterprise-wide revamp of your of your tech and data platform, and how that is actually making a big difference in the quality of decisions that are being made at an enterprise level, particularly from a, as you wear the HR hat, right? So maybe if you can throw some light on how analytics, data, and the sharper insights have made a difference in from your standpoint.
Thanks, Ram. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Post lunch. Thanda pad gaye sab.
The jalebi was very nice, I guess.
Oh, maybe. Mithai zyada tha. Anyways, before going into whatever you have asked me right now, let me have one or two interaction with the audience here, so that it will be inclined with or maybe aligned with what will be I'm talking about the enterprise level. Photographer दादा, कितना फोटो निकाले आज? 2000? 400? Okay. तो दादा ने 400 फोटो निकाला है. So the intention is he is continuously he is putting in the photographing to everyone. 400 photographs. This is also on data, but 400 से then he will go backside in the system and again he will be having a revamp. कौन सा अच्छा है, कौन सा बुरा है. Then he will be cutting down and he will be showing to the team. Similarly, there's one point to all the audience. कितने लोग हैं यहाँ पे? Assumption? Any of the panelists also? Maybe 170, 200? Morning 9 o'clock से अभी तक कौन कौन है 200 से? Second half कितने लोग आए? So these are all the datas which every data is a pointer actually. Whenever you put any data, there is a pointer. So if you analyze that, if every phase of your data, if you put your right feeding is in the morning section, somebody has told if data is a data, if you don't put right data, it won't. So if you put a data to that, then only you can go for the next level, that is you have to analyze. Now coming to your question, enterprise level. See, let us understand what is enterprise. For me, it is a company. My company has 3 business: renewable, logistics, and we have financials. Multiple verticals also we have. I don't want to incline many verticals, what exactly we do. The only thing is the crux of the business is we have different line of business and the ecosystem is little different. You cannot align with what renewable is doing with logistics or what logistics is doing with financials. They have their own ecosystems. So every ecosystem has, you have to understand the entire business, then you have to understand what is the financials, and the best part is the human talent. These are 3 areas where you have to do. Yes, now the change makers, when AI is coming to the world, then when your data is there with you, as somebody has told here, rightly said, we have data, we never do data analysis. Let us accept it. When you do analysis, then you do something like, it is not like what the reports is showing to you what has happened, but the report should show something what should happen. It's a forecasting. You have to forecast something which has to be, it is a remedy for you. जो हो गया, कुछ नहीं कर सकते. It's very simple. So whatever you wanted to do in the next, and this will be only helpful for you the growth. So what we have done, though you can tell this group company is something like a old wine is a new bottle, but we are since in the market from last 20-25 years. But the transformation of the digitization process started 2 years or 3 years before. We started with the entire process mapping, the SOPs. Then we finalized which is the tool which we have to take it forward. Then we have started the processing the things. So now coming to the adaptability, yes, that is the challenges, because when you have an past history of around 20-25 years, then it's very, very difficult to come from down to the top. It has to come from top to down. So in this case, then we have to make awareness to the team and what exactly it will be helpful to the business. See, for me, exactly AI is something which has to be some impact to the business. Simple. Human tendency is that what would be the human touch? कोई resignation डाल दिया, for example. ठीक है? AI will not come forward and tell you that resignation डाल दिया, what are the exit interviews points and everything. You have to be inclined with that person and human touch is required. So 99% if AI is there, 1% human touch is always required on the table, around the table. So to come forward for the AI generation, then definitely we have to do something like you have to be very creative on your data and data analysis. Unless until you create your own data with analysis, that cannot be converted to your AI formulation, where you have to take some predictive analysis so that it will be helpful for your business. So this is what
If I may ask you, Dr. Santosh, I think, and this question I'm asking, I'm sure many people in the audience would love to learn from this. You talked about when you went through this journey, you had to deal with change and change management, right? I mean, could you give one example of what, was one of the difficult situations that you might have faced that you helped overcome?
Okay. So I'll bifurcate the human capital in 3 areas. One is the leadership team, one is the middle management, and one the support team, for example. Support team is always inclined what new is coming to the market. Leadership team, it is always inclined towards only figures. मेरा EBITDA कितना बैठने वाला है? ABP में मेरा इतना है, मेरा top line, bottom line maintain करना है, cash flow, working capital, everything. This is all blah blah, all financial aspects. But the middle management, those are the people, those who wanted to have one step ahead. Today I'm here, tomorrow I have to go there. So in that case, upskilling and reskilling, that is the most powerful point, where one of my gentlemen, I think 𝐃𝐽, they have also told upskilling is the far most people, whichever age factor it is, if you don't upscale yourself with a changing environment, it will be very, very difficult to cope up with the maybe the new generation people. They are coming with new thoughts.
Brilliant, thank you. I'm going to take the question to you, Arif. I know you look after, amongst many other parts of your portfolio, you look after rewards. As children, what was the best reward that we actually got when we went home? Chocolates. So we are talking to someone who's in the chocolate business, and he's the man who's looking after rewards. So I'm going to go very specific here, Arif. If you were to say, thanks to better quality data, analytics, and tech-driven analytics, which is the topic of our tech-driven HR analytics, the ability to drive productivity and rewards and the cycle around it is enhanced. How would you, if you could share with us how you've gone through this journey, what you still see as challenges or still see as areas that needs to be enhanced in the industry, not just necessarily in your own firm, and your own learnings from what the team could take away from you.
Thanks, Ram, and very good afternoon to all of you. So I'll correct you, Ram. We are not into chocolates.
Or candies.
We are into confectionery business.
Confectionaries, yes.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah. So I must say that this is a very interesting time for all the HR professionals. Why? Because you have tons of data, and there are people are also little skeptical. There are a lot of speculations around AI, right? So being a people champion, how are you balancing the both acts? I will now get into the specifics of what Ram asked me.
Arif, get the mic closer.
All right, sorry. So what Ram asked me is, I'll be a little specific here. So if you look at the productivity and rewards, first of all, organizations are at different maturity level. If you look at the transition from being traditional HR to being more data-led analytics that you do today, I'll put 2 examples to all of you. Now you talk about performance optimization. So, typically we had time where you used to really crunch data, typically during the annual cycle or during the annual performance cycle. Now, thanks to the smart platforms that you have, what it does for you is it actually captures the insights, the performance of the people. And what it does is it does not wait for your annual review. So there is an ongoing, performance, intelligence that's playing at the back of the system. And what you get as an organization is a smart analytics, right? Which helps you take an informed decision when it comes to performance of a people. And that will also connect to the subject that my colleague, she's going to talk about on talent, yeah? So that is one piece which I would really like to call upon. The other important piece is, now as a rewards professional, we are actually leaning towards the lead factors. And what are those factors? So those factors are like, how are people really applying the skills that they have? What is their learning agility? How do they collaborate? The whole collaborative patterns is something coming to picture. So you have various data points to look at rather than just looking at a raw data as in what is it that you've achieved as a end of the day as a salesperson or as somebody working in a factory. So that's on performance optimization. The other point that I have to share with you is on pay for performance reward professionals. We all been hearing for ages, right? Now, with AI, what has happened is that it has actually helped, it has really helped the compensation experts to model it. There are different models that you have put into place. What it also does is that it not only, there have been issues in the industry that how do you really, for rewards professional, how do you really cope up or meet, there are gaps around pay parity. Now what this system does, it actually links the performance to your market benchmark. And from market benchmark, it also throws a data saying how do you maintain an internal parity? How are you really differentiating your performers vis-a-vis a performers who is just an average performers? So these are some of the interesting trends that you would observe in the reward space. And this is also helping the organizations to make a really sharper decision when it comes to productivity, performance, and finally, the rewards piece.
Oh, very interesting, Arif, and I quite like the way you explained how, and it's actually a continuous journey, right? It's not a one-time thing. I mean, that's the beauty about it, right? I'll come back to you, Priti, but before I came to you, I'm going to take the question to you, Shiv, and I'm just going to extend the question that I asked Arif, right? Again, you're looking at Piramal consumer and healthcare, and you're seeing the whole context of data from various angles. I mean, one is what you have from your own sales force and what you actually have as feet on street, and that's one side of data. The second is what you obviously have as, like enterprise data that is feeding in, that could drive, let's say, your productivity. And third is what you get as continuous market data that you get to hear, right? Which is the point Arif is making. I mean, looking at benchmarking with market, and that makes a big difference to my measurement of compensation and benefits and whatever. But if you elevate this to one level higher, right? I mean, as someone who's actually heading HR for all of Piramal consumer healthcare, and if you were to say, Ram, these are the 2 or 3 things that are significantly different today than what it has been before, thanks to the tech-driven analytics and data from an HR standpoint, what would you pick?
Okay, somebody just started some news, but yeah, let us know what it is so that we don't miss out. Okay, great. So thanks for the question, Ram, and happy to hear all the colleagues that spoke about the topic so far. So see, interestingly, a lot of things that we speak about in general, and I'm no expert, but there'll be people who will tell, no, that is analytics, that is not AI. AI is different. Then something is Gen AI, something is agentic AI.
There is not 7.
So I think one important thing is we need to know as practitioners how much we need to know, right? Because after that it is semantics. We are practitioners and we have to ensure that user adoption happens. So while I use these terms, I'll use them interchangeably. I'll take a lot of leeway here, and pardon me for that. But let me tell you, so I'll speak about feet on street, and Apoorva gave a very good example. Usually people who go to the retailers and place orders that please buy 1 lactocalamine, why don't you keep the Tetmosol soap, it's summer and people will have fungal infections, why don't you keep it, or take this tonic and whatnot. Typically what happens is there's a analytics backend which tells that these are the products that you need to sell to this shop, because this shop last year made the maximum sale in this, and in this month these are the 3 hot products that you need to sell. I think this itself is the first layer wherein you make things productive. Now for this layer only, if you want to use AI, there is so I was speaking with BFSI. They are trying to create digital twins, right? So the idea is that that same guy who's selling, who's trying to take an order from the retailer has to now call the distributor that आप माल भेज दीजिए, उस दुकान में इतना भेज दीजिए, मैं आपको summarize कर रहा हूँ, इस area में 35 shops and you need to sell. Now the distributor would say, why don't you come here or call me after 5? So the digital twin, speaks, is trained on your voice, speaks like you, and then they don't tire themselves out. So because they are AI, so after 5-6 p.m. you can tell your digital twin that every Monday at 5 p.m. or after, call this distributor and remind him that he needs to send it across. Now in places like Dubai, typically the AI is supposed to tell that I am the digital twin of Shivaditya, I wanted to take 2 minutes. Now India, I am not sure where are we on this, right? So what I was looking at when I was looking at the vendor, he was trying to tell me that the person in front won't be able to make out that it's a digital twin. So you might as well pass off without telling that you are the digital twin. So again, those are the areas where we need to be sensitive. So, the moment you say something like this, people are immediately fearful of their jobs. But I think that is, our role also in letting them know that, the entire world of sales works on relationships, people knowing the distributor's daughter and son, when are they getting married, and because they keep inventory, they block their money. There is real money in question. We are all real product organizations, sabun tel bechne wale, right? So, again, context differs, and hence the use of AI and how it will not have the ability to take away jobs but only to augment becomes important. Now so the idea is that not only aid them with data, a lot of which analytics can help you, but try to look at real AI use cases where you are using AI, is one level of elevation that we can all look into. I'll tell you, in our organization in the past, in learning space, it's very very easy. You can tell Gen AI, if Copilot is well connected, you can tell it that, look at my IDP, let me know what are the 3 top learning programs that we have in the LMS, and tell us. I think this is as basic as it goes, and it's easy to do. I think that's the first level that all of us should try. Now there are builds to it. Like for example, when we used to launch those compliance programs, we used to ask the AI what are the typical times in which people do these programs, and it would give us certain days and certain time afterwards people do it. Use that data and release the programs there. So day-to-day decision making, it aids you a lot. You can come to a point wherein people join and they are told their compensation, and there's an AI which asks that what all do you value, if you if you value car, if you value something else, or a greater mediclaim in lieu of slightly lesser fixed pay. It can give you that this is what it could be if this is your total CTC, and these are the options which you can decide. So there's no end to it. Half of them might be hypothetical, half of them might be coming close to real, and simultaneously many others would be speaking the same language. So I think there are very many use cases. It's important also for us to know that what increasingly is happening is we are generating a lot of data for the sake of data. No decision is getting made unless you see multiple cuts of data, and we sometimes say that data for the sake of data is garbage. There is abundance of data, and then there is tremendous dependence on data. In fact, I was about to make this point, and I was thinking, how am I? Because I am, it shouldn't happen that you're teaching to the choir when you yourself are guilty of these. But I was in the morning, with my team in a meeting, and they were pushing me to take a decision. And I said, no, show me data, show me data. And then they said, this is the summary. I said, no, show me in Excel. Then he showed me 10 tabs. And then I said, sab dekha hai na? He said, yes, yes. I said, yeah, I think this decision is good. Right? So, but then, we shouldn't become, prisoners of, the fact that if there's data around, I feel that, okay, yes, I can take a decision, because if something goes wrong, I have something to save my ass, but it won't happen that well necessarily. I think these are some things I wanted to add, the other part of the equation also, which may not be so good, and hence I wanted to add this. Yeah, that's my response. Thanks.
Shiv, this was fascinating. Really, I mean, I think the points we're making about, especially the last point, I mean, data is there, but data is not going to be saving you. I mean, it's your decision that you're making ultimately. And going back to the digital twin, I was reminded by somebody that instead of you asking whether it's a digital twin and are you a robo, we all experience every day where the robo or the machine is asking, prove that you're a human, yeah. so the lives have changed and times have changed, and that's what we're dealing with today, right? But I'm actually going to ask you, Priti, I mean, this is a very different question than what I've been asking. I mean, we've been seeing, you know, things change, and there's data and analytics and tech and everything else, right? As a HR professional, what would you say as how the ways of working has changed? I mean, has there been a fundamental shift that you have experienced yourself or you're foreseeing to happen in terms of ways of working that maybe you can share? And I think this room is full of HR professionals. We'd love to learn from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Ram, for asking that question. See, as an HR professional who's seen from technology to FMCG, and now I work for a general insurance company, certainly we see an evolution in HR, the ways that we work as HR professionals. The topic of today's panel is about HR data management. I'd like to add to the point that has been already made. The new oil is data, right? The question is how we are able to refine it, make it relevant, train the engines of AI, ML, whatever we want to call it, to make it relevant for us. I'd like to say that, Ram, that I've experienced a very positive change, and it has added to the effectiveness and productivity of us as an HR function for that matter. I'll take 3 use case examples here to talk about, which have not been touched upon. Before this meeting, I was telling the panel, so one of the areas that we always thought was the talent, right? We all do the talent assessment, the 9-box model, performance potential, the hypos move, and the rest, there's a talent hoarding because he or she is my go-to person, the best resource, and that person's career is just locked into that one function. So we created something called as talent marketplace, and we kind of used the talent mapping data that came to us, but also wanted to democratize the whole process of career progression, talent management in the organization. The premise was that if we don't offer the career opportunity to a talent, then somebody else will offer that opportunity to the talent. So rather than losing externally, we started using the talent marketplace. We posted all the job openings, even the short-term and long-term assignments, onto our internal intranet. And that's where people kind of who were looking at, like Priti wanted to be a marketing professional, but she wasn't very sure. She went for a short-term assignment. But somebody who went on a long-term assignment because the budget and the BUs did not have the budget to hire an FTE, so they hired somebody on a long-term assignment, or the transfers. So the point, this helped the individuals find their learning, on-job learning, and also the career opportunities within the organization. But it also helped the talent acquisition and talent management professionals, so they didn't have to go about promoting the talent. The talent was themselves raising their hands, there was an evaluation, and there was an automation of the entire process with 100% transparency. It added to, as I said, the efficiency to my team, saying, okay, so some of the talent acquisition positions were filled internally, where we had to backfill them externally, but those were really different profiles at the junior level. Another profile that we created, talent management professionals were able to show in their dashboards and scorecards that, listen, we have been able to move internal talent from one to the other function, and we have kind of reduced the number of attrition in that particular function or career level. The second case I'd like to talk about is this succession planning. We all do succession planning, right, for the critical roles at the leadership levels. They all set in nice, beautiful PowerPoint presentations or Excel sheets or in system. And there is ready now, 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5 years. The poor 3 to 5 years doesn't see the light of the day. By the time his or her turn comes, she's attrited or he's attrited. So the AI what we used was we deployed AI to really put in place, one is at their location at the country level, but we started partnering with other countries as well who would have a talent. For South Asian talent, they would be open because there are cultural nuances. If you want to send some of the talent at the junior level to other locations and everything else, so kind of partnered and opened that whole field for evaluating the talent ready now across the geography. So some of the succession planning pieces where we always had to run to the external talent, we started looking at the moment we expanded the geography. We started using the ready now talent from one geography to the other, or one function to the other, because there was like openness. There's entire summary of what that talent profile is, what his or her strength areas, development, etc. are. I think that was the second one. Third one that I'd like to quickly talk about, Ram, if time permits, is we've all heard about the chatbots, right? We have all named our chatbot as Nina, Meena, and everything else. And those chatbots were...
Sounded like the digital twin, yeah.
Sorry? Yeah.
Reena and Meena.
Yeah, I've seen those. So those chatbots were trained to really answer specific queries, policy-driven queries. What I mean, not at Universal Sompo, but one of my previous organization is going ahead is they're implementing agentic AI. So for the generations, of course, there's going to be agentic AI answering some of the policy-related matters and everything else, but it is going to generate some of those standard letters like salary certificate, my address proof, and some of those last year increment letter I'm not able to find. Can you help all of that? So all of that is helping us as AI as much. So I'd like to also say that while we're using AI and leveraging the tools and the systems and technology, we have not left the human touch. We're kind of balancing it out where the technology can take a lead or where the human touch has to take it forward. In summary, Ram, what my answer would be, yes, it has helped us drive more efficiency. And also the HR professionals have been able to drive some of those strategic vision and priorities, because we've been always blamed of being these are more tactical transactional partners. So we've raised the platform and we've raised the expectation for the HR professionals to be more strategic, talking about more business rather than getting stuck onto the attendance answers, this answer and that answer. So that's going to be my input.
Thank you. No, thank you, Priti. I mean, I think you made some very pertinent points, and I guess a lot of people in the room would resonate with some of what you just explained here. So I have another 10 minutes left, and I'm going to ask the same question to all the panelists. Would you like to start this way or that way? Because the rule of the game is that the second person can't repeat the answer that the first person has given. Yeah, so you got to watch. So, all right. So while I am actually having this and while they're answering, just after this, I'll come to you for any questions you may have, so you can keep them ready. So I'm going to start with, listen, the answer has to be given in less than a minute, 30 seconds to a minute, and you can tell us one thing that if you are to foresee from where you are today, right? One big risk or one big impact that you foresee that tech-driven data analytics in AI is going to bring in the HR world. Yeah.
So the risk is the data misutilization, the breach of data and the data landing into wrong hands and exposing the individual privacy, because individual privacy. And in India, we have DPDP coming. So even for us in India, that privacy statements are going to be very important. That's a big risk. The second one, the impact.
So you could choose only one. So you're talking about the risk.
Okay, risk.
Well done. Arif.
So for me, I think as far as I'm concerned, I think let me talk about the strength first. So yes, sharper insights, analytics, and also the scalability.
Scalability.
And when it comes to disadvantage, I would say that, with the heaps of data that now the colleagues spoke about, you should not be really losing the human stories, because human at the end of the day is the center of what we do today. And organizations would really, would succeed who's able to bring the analytics and empathy together.
I love the way you just said it, because this goes back to the famous Mahatma Gandhi statement, as they say, the customer is the purpose we are here, right? And if I use that parlance in HR, employee or the individual or the human is the reason why, end of the day, we are talking about human capital. Thank you. Dr. Santosh.
Regarding the impact, then data, which can be converted to your predictive analysis. Predictive analysis can be converted to your which is fruitful to the impact to the business. So probably it is a dashboard which is helpful to the boardrooms for the CXO levels to take some decisions. So this is what I can tell. This is the impact.
And you see the data that is, it's a HR angle, or you're talking at enterprise level?
Both. But when you're going for the risk, then see, it is an improvement plan. I don't think so there will be any risk. If we improvise ourselves, there won't be any risk. And we have to stable ourselves and slowly, gradually, whenever it is required, the momentum is required, then we can start. But definitely it will be helping to the boardroom.
I'm going to hold you to that statement because I'm not sure everybody will be agreeing with you, but we'll come back to you. Apoorva.
Definitely, I'd love to take that.
Yeah, to me, the risk that I see is that I don't want to be caught sitting. I think the pace at which this is moving, it will get disruptive, and I don't want to just follow the wave. So the risk is, can we ride the
shock,
wave? And
as they call it.
yeah, so and it is okay to accept there will be changes. So just by pushing it and saying no, it's only for enablement, I think from a business lens, from a people lens, we have to see it more sharply and be ready than just have to do
Be
it.
ready for the change before it arrives. Yeah, lovely, lovely, Apoorva. Rajesh.
Just to add what ma'am said, see, I'll talk about the impact.
Hold the mic closer.
I'll talk about the impact. I'll just add to what ma'am said. See, AI is not only digitalization or digitizing things. Based on the AI, what you're getting is where you need to start using that and be more predictive what you have to do. Use that angle and bring in the human touch wherever required, which is right now there, but can be more expressed before the people say to it. When you have the data already in place, so you know what are the requirements of the people to before they express. If you can work on that, that will be more helpful.
I have to borrow this. This sounds like, you know,
If I have the data, I know this person is supposed to leave, example, due to various touch points.
Yeah.
Or the person is not working on the performance right now, so I can pitch in and speak to him, understand what is the things, work towards it on a win-win situation.
So you're going back to the attrition explanation you had. And I love it, yeah. You brought it back to the full circle. Sorry, Shivaditya.
So, in fact, very quickly, two things. One is, you know, I'm speaking of Gen AI. I think a lot of, so Gen AI hallucinates, we all know, a lot of fake news is out there. So what it throws up, you really do not know. It may not have empathy. I don't know if it's a real or fake story, but, you know, when it gets, somebody put up that, you know, somebody asked how to commit suicide, and it said that, okay, that's a bad idea, but are you sure you want to do it? And then he said, okay, yes, then tell me the steps, and it gave. Now that's a classic case where, you know, you have, you know, what we call right now, say AGI, who will engage, who will say, no, why are you having this thought? I want to engage with you. Can you speak with me a little more? Right? That's where, you know, the difference is. So I think empathy and emotion, judgment, decision making, very difficult to rely on Gen AI. One big other thing is cognitive decline. I feel that is likely to happen in all of us. I think for every small thing, we all open up ChatGPT, from board presentation to CEO presentation to a proposal to an idea. I can tell my team doesn't start thinking if I go on the whiteboard and write a problem. So that's where we are.
You know, the earlier panel, I think Shivaditya made a very interesting comment. The CVs are made by AI. They actually are being posted by AI. They're being reviewed by AI. So I think we are just bystanders and watching the whole game here. Okay, I have another couple of minutes, so I'm happy to take a few questions. Anyone wants to ask a question to the panel, please put your hand up. I see a hand up there. Can someone pass the mic to the gentleman?
Okay, hello. Yeah. So Shiv, this one's for you, I think, because you spoke about digital twin. So in terms of day-to-day experience, when we are connecting with our team members, do you think this can work there as well? I mean, we spoke about someone talking about, I think Priti touched upon the point that the normal transactional things about my experience letter, my bona fide letter, etc. One can go through the agentic AI and get things done. But this digital twin, will it work like an EAP, Sasta wala Jugadu EAP, after office hours, is what is my question to you.
I think that's a great question. I didn't touch upon the other build that BFSI organization was exploring, which is actually a coach. There was a sales coach, a senior sales leader, who was an extremely good coach. When people wanted to check with that, you know, we wanted to double check that, should I make this sale? Should I give loan to this person? Because these 2-3 specs, they are matching. These 2-3 specs, they are not. Then he would tell 2 or 3 things which are important to determine whether you should give the loan or not, which are judgmental. You know, you have to make some nuanced decision making. and we saw a bot, in fact, I'll call it voice AI, a digital twin of that gentleman speaking in his own voice with the right pauses, and we asking questions to them, should we make the sale or not, and we giving them certain variables and they letting us know whether we should go ahead or not. So I think it's going to that level. There is sales coaching for junior level people already available, with digital coaches, but I don't know to what level of finesse, depth they are still there, and I am sure it is getting worked upon, but I think we are not too far. The important thing will be how many of us will adopt and see value, and how many of us will start engaging with the intent to find a fault. That see, here I missed the, I think half that, I think we are just getting a little carried away with the magic that AI can show us, and see, oh, they can do this also, oh, I saw that also. I think that's where, because it's moving so fast that a human being cannot think about, but I think it will let some mesmerizing to settle down for us to really see how much adoption happens. Yeah, thanks.
Any more question? I think given we have 2 minutes exact, we can take one quick question. Yeah, can we have the mic to the lady there? Ma'am, if you could. Thank you so much.
Could introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Manila. I am from Affinity, from the HR team. The question I would like to ask any of the panelists is that we are talking about AI. We're talking about what are the, the achievements that we can reach. But at the same time, the human skills or the human intelligence is also deteriorating. Example, if there is a candidate who cannot really speak well, or there is an employee in the organization who does not have an excellent communication skills, but yet at the same time, he can use an AI tool and draft a very fantastic mail. However, not knowing what are his actual strengths and how can we cope up our capabilities, or we rise our capabilities to deal along with AI and not depend on AI. How can we do this?
Anybody would like to take the question from the panel?
Okay, so I just lost the train of thought that I was having as you were building your question, okay, so just in one sentence, can you repeat again?
Basically, AI is there.
Yeah.
That we all know that yes, it will enable us for many things in future. But how do we enable ourselves as, how do we, upscale our human intelligence to manage along with AI and not depend on AI for everything?
Okay,
I think that's what is happening now.
Yeah. So, it's, being in an analog world which is not digital is scary as a proposition, let me tell you that, right? I am just trying to think, can a person, because you just will become so outdated. Even today, my team is trying to show this is smartwatch. See, I yesterday had stress between 4 to 5. Driving is a stressful activity. They have a smartwatch. Everything is getting measured, and we are coming to a level where people will come to know if they are going to get a heart attack, 2 days prior, 2 to 3 days prior, so that you can avert it, right? Because it will measure your skin temperature and heartbeat. So it's a scary proposition. You will have to ride the wave, right? But I think, as we say, it is going to be a mix of HI-AI, human ingenuity, and artificial intelligence. And HI-AI both have to go together. So you have to force yourself. I think I would suggest do extensive amount of reading. There's so much available on YouTube in general for you to do, ₹9 courses to 99 courses to understand AI and various use cases. Everything is happening. And as somebody said, no matter what, please ensure that you have sufficient money and you are investing it well, because that real currency will not go away. It will be the farthest. There will be a surrogate like a crypto, but it will stay. A few things that are likely to stay, among. So I think you also need to know where all you need to pivot, add your sources of income, use AI as a tool. But again, I think a lot of application, deliberate application practice, reading, interacting, speaking with people, I think all of that is something we should not lose out, because AI will make you resign to your room and manage everything from a mobile, at best an iPad, you right from your delivery to everything else, right? So I think a lot of deliberate action from our end is needed. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much. I think a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful panel here. And special thanks to Ramkumar Venkataraman ji for wonderfully moderating this panel of experts. And of course, a big thank you to all of you, a full house audience here, and thank you for engaging in the Q&A sessions. I would request the panel members to kindly be seated. Would like to call on stage Mr. Mahesh Kumar K from 𝐃𝐽 to kindly do the honors. Mahesh ji, if you could kindly do the honors. We'll start first with Ms. Priti Singh from Universal Sompo General Insurance. Can we have the certificate for Madam, please? Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Ms. Priti Singh for her wonderful contribution in the panel session. Moving next to Mr. Arif Khan from Perfetti and Melle. A big round of applause to Mr. Arif Khan for his wonderful contribution in the panel session. Moving next to Dr. Santosh Kumar Rout from Sorigin Group. A big round of applause to Dr. Rout for his wonderful contribution in the panel. Moving next to Ms. Apoorva Kapoor from Bajaj Consumer Care. A big round of applause to Ms. Apoorva Kapoor for her wonderful contribution in the panel. Moving next, Mr. Rajesh Gupta, ladies and gentlemen, Generali Central Insurance Company. A big round of applause to Rajesh ji for his valuable contribution. Moving next, we have Shivaditya Banerjee from Piramal Consumer Healthcare. A big round of applause to Mr. Banerjee for his wonderful contribution in the panel. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our honorable panel moderator, Mr. Ramkumar Venkataraman from Cedar Management Consulting International. Big round of applause to Mr. Venkataraman for wonderfully moderating this session and also for sharing his valuable knowledge. Now, honorable panel members would request you to kindly step forward for a group photo. Mahesh, please feel free to join them as well for a group photo op. Can we have a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for this panel? For the last 50 minutes, they shared valuable knowledge, information, industry insights, and really, we are deeply thankful to this panel. So thank you so much, all the panel members. Thank you, Ramkumar ji, for your valuable contribution as a panel moderator. Thank you to each and every panel member. And thank you, Mahesh, for doing the honors.